Yes, so we will begin with the usual opening recitations. So in the opening recitations that we have been doing for this weekday daily practice and study, so we do the short opening recitation, which consists of first four recitations. And these four recitations, they are, the first two pertains to generating, giving rise to both aspiration and action bodhicitta. Aspiration to and action bodhicitta. So aspiration bodhicitta is the sometimes explained as generating aspiration bodhicitta. Sometimes it's explained as giving rise to planting the seed that leads to the giving rise to the how would you put it? Giving rise to the result. And action bodhicitta is giving rise to the cause. Because aspiration bodhicitta is saying, I want to become Buddha for the sake of all beings. So that's called giving rise to the result. Giving rise to the cause is, and therefore, to do that, I have to bind myself. I have to bind myself. I have to bind my body, speech, and mind. I have to bind, hold together with my body, speech, and mind. With what? With virtuous actions, with virtue. So elsewhere I have explained that what we have poetically, what has been poetically translated here as thus until I achieve Buddha, I engage in virtuous deeds with body, speech, and mind. Until death, I engage in virtuous deeds with body, speech, and mind. From now until this time tomorrow, I engage in virtuous deeds with body, speech, and mind. More literally, this translation, if it's done more literally, it will be until I achieve the state of Buddha, I will bind my body, speech, and mind to virtue. I will bind go. The Tibetan word go is to bind. I will bind together my body, speech, and mind, meaning my mental, emotional, verbal, and physical actions, I will bind to virtue. So virtue there is speaking of actions that are not poisoned by the three poisons. Then the third and the fourth recitations is the refuge in the Buddha Dharma Sangha, and followed by the four immeasurable minds. May all mother sentient beings, limitless as the sky, have happiness and the causes of happiness. That section are the four immeasurable minds: immeasurable loving kindness, immeasurable compassion, immeasurable joy, and immeasurable equanimity. And that's what that recitation is, the fourth recitation. So then after that, we do some invocations or supplications, asking for the blessings of the lineage gurus. So the first one is addressed to the lineage gurus of the Kagyu, and then more specifically the Drikung Kagyu. Then after that is a prayer to Kyopa Jigten Sumgon, the founder of the Drikung Kagyu. Then a prayer to Guru Rinpoche, the one credited and the person who ensured that Buddhism, the Dharma, is firmly established in Tibet. And then the fourth, the final recitation in the section on invoking the Guru, is the invocation to our root Guru, So those are the other four. And so let us begin now. All other sentient beings, limitless as the sky, especially those enemies who hate me, obstructors who harm me, and those who create obstacles on my path to liberation and all-knowingness, may they experience happiness and be separated from suffering. I will quickly establish them in the state of the most perfect and precious Bodhi. All Mother sentient beings, limitless as the sky, especially those enemies who hate me, obstructors who harm me, and those who create obstacles on my path of liberation and all-knowingness, may they experience happiness and be separated from suffering. I will quickly establish them in the state of the most perfect and precious Bodhi. All Mother sentient beings, limitless as the sky, especially those enemies who hate me, obstructors who harm me, and those who create obstacles on my path to liberation and all-knowingness, may they experience happiness and be separated from suffering. I will quickly establish them in the state of the most perfect and precious Bodhi. Thus, until I achieve Buddha, I engage in virtuous deeds with body, speech, and mind. Until death, I engage in virtuous deeds with body, speech, and mind. From now until this time tomorrow, I engage in virtuous deeds with body, speech, and mind. And the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, most excellent, I take refuge until Bodhi is reached by the merit of generosity and other perfections. May I attain Buddhahood for the sake of all wandering beings in the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, most excellent, I take refuge until Bodhi is reached by the merit of generosity and other perfections. May I attain Buddhahood for the sake of all wandering beings in the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, most excellent. I take refuge until Bodhi is reached by the merit of generosity and other perfections. May I attain Buddhahood for the sake of all wandering beings. May all Mother sentient beings, limitless as the sky, have happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be liberated from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they never be separated from the happiness that is free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, free from the bias of attachment and aversion. May all Mother sentient beings, limitless as the sky, have happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be liberated from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they never be separated from the happiness that is free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, free from the bias of attachment and aversion. May all Mother sentient beings, limitless as the sky, have happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be liberated from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they never be separated from the happiness that is free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, free from the bias of attachment and aversion. Lord Vajradhara Tilipa Naropa Marpa Milarepa Pa Gampo Pa Mudrupa Jigten Sumgon Venerable Root Guru, possessing the three kindnesses, root and lineage gurus, idams, dharmapalas, pray please bestow blessings on my mind stream. Unequal refuge, ornament of the world, whose renown pervades the 3,000 worlds, the undisputed conqueror Vajradhara, I pay homage to you, the Father Jigten Gunpo. You alone are continually on my mind, compassionate one. Please grant your blessings. Dispel the darkness of my mind. Please bless me to realize the mind free from elaborations. Home on the northwest border of the land of Odiyana, in the heart of a lotus flower, endowed with the most marvelous attainments. You are renowned as lotus born, surrounded by many hosts of Dakinis following in your footsteps. I pray to you, come inspire me with your blessings, Guru Padma Siddhi Hum. In the Dharma Dhatu palace of Akarnishta is the essence of the Buddhas of the three times, who directly reveals my mind as Dharmakaya. O root Guru, at your feet I supplicate. So next we are going to do the ACHI sun offering, the offering of the cleansing. So the last, I don't know, months, this is part of a group that has been meeting together to go over this commentary on the Gongchik by Khenpo Kunzang Pelden, who is one of the main disciples of the great Nyingma Lama, Bedru Rinpoche, who is the author of this book that many of you know, called The Words of My Perfect Teacher. So we have finished looking at that brief commentary. So anyway, during the last few months, we have been practicing. At the beginning of the series, we were doing daily this ACHI cleansing offering, which is the Sang offering. Sang in Tibetan literally means cleansing. So there it speaks of cleansing both negative karma, called Dikpa, and also cleansing Dripa. Dripa has an indigenous Tibetan reference, as well as is a reference to the obscurations that the Buddha spoke to about. And obscuration is a more subtle look, a more subtle level of understanding what is the problem of negative karma. And the problem of negative karma is not just the obvious suffering that negative actions bring. So the problem of negative karma is not just the obvious suffering that negative actions inevitably is going to bring. A deeper level of the problem of negative karma is the problem of stains and obscurations that are then created when we create negative karma. And these stains predispose us towards creating more negative karma in the future. And so it's that which keeps us, bound in a state of confusion. So different types of obscurations the Buddha further taught. So under that topic, then the Buddha taught sometimes called the 2 obscurations, sometimes called the 3, and sometimes called the 4. Yeah? Where the 2, 3, or 4 is not that at 4 more obscurations are introduced, but it's further dividing what's the 2 obscurations. Anyway, among these 4 obscurations, there is the karmic obscurations, and that is referring to the negative results of negative karma, karmic obscurations. Then there is the obscurations of afflictive emotions, and so on and so forth. So there's the 4, even a discussion of the 4 types of obscurations. So in the Sang practice, there's references to removing the dikpa, which is the results of negative actions, and also a reference to removing dripa, which is a removal of obscurations from the perspective of Buddha Dharma. Then among Tibetan culture, ancient Tibetan pre-Buddhist culture, there is another meaning of dripa. And there dripa is talking about a type of stain, a kind of stain. It has the word is the same word as we use for obscuration. But in pre-Buddhist Tibet, this stain, this dripa, is something that sticks on to us when certain things that are against the flow of nature, so to say, when those things have happened, when those things occur, this kind of substance, almost you could say, will stick to us, and not only stick to us, but also infect, you could say infect, even better word, it will also infect the other beings that are in the area where this particular anomaly, where this particular disruption has happened. So anomalies and disruptions can happen even when certain stars are positioned in certain ways. So that's related to astrology. So especially they say solar and lunar eclipses actually create a lot of dripa. Of course, these days, we rush off to go see solar and lunar eclipses. In the past, most cultures, people are terrified of such events. Yeah? So now, whether it's dripa or not, I'm not sure. I guess it depends on how mental, emotionally you get affected by these things. Then dripa can also occur when, let's say, we come in contact with like dead bodies, corpses. Dripa can also occur when we put on clothing that we got from other people, and maybe these clothing has been worn by people with a lot of negativity in their minds, or eating food prepared by people with a lot of anger. It says even that you can get dripa. You could also get dripa if you cut, when you're cutting trees, for whatever reason, you could also incur dripa. Your stove, your cooking stove is dirty. That also creates dripa. So this pre-Buddhist notion of dripa is more, I would say maybe more what we would say like psychological, and not necessarily with any moral ethical weight to them. Of course, it does cover moral ethical. So in our ACHI text, it talks about like rape. Obviously, on a moral ethical level, that's a very negative anomaly, so to say. But then many of the things that create dripa, according to indigenous Tibetan sense, may not have very clear, direct, like karmic. It's sort of like in the West, people maybe maybe now people don't think so much about it, but if you see a black cat, running across your path, or I don't want to walk there. That's dripper. So what we might call superstition, but of course with superstitions, you are not superstitious when everything is going well, but when things start to go wrong, your intellectual sophistication, it has no power over superstition. So anyway, so this ACHI Sang cleansing, I suggest to you to consider this as the outer layer of cleansing. Then today also we will practice the 35 Buddhas confessional practice. I suggest that you think of that as the inner cleansing. And that is particularly your Bodhisattva vow. Then third, we will also do VAJRASATTVA cleansing. And that I suggest you can think of it as the secret cleansing. Cleansing in especially damage to our samayas. The most important samaya is the samaya of body, speech, and mind, which is the samaya of relating and perceiving ourselves as deity, as pure and pristine, relating to others as pure and pristine. Body, speech, and mind. That is the essence of Vajrayana Samaya. But that Samaya is so easy to break, especially in this day and time. We have been encouraged to instantly attack. Instantly attack. Instantly be critical. Instantly judge people. We do that. So especially these days, really, Vajrayana Samaya, we're breaking left and right and up and down. In part, it comes from knowledge. So knowledge is dangerous. Knowledge makes us prideful. Knowledge makes us arrogant. And I'm speaking from someone who has a PhD, so it's my confession, And the more knowledge you accumulate, the more fuel you will have, I think, for breaking this samaya of perceiving everyone as Buddhas. Very hard. Then, the culture these days is to encourage people to be suspicious, encourage people to be judgmental, encourage people to attack. We are attacking people we don't even know anything about, simply because of our perception. And then, if we continue like this, doesn't matter what kind of practice we do, if we don't make effort to overcome this, it's not going to work. So this samaya, Vajrasattva meditation especially, seek to clean damages to this samaya. So the outer, inner, and secret cleansing practices. I am Vajra Yogini, instantaneously above my head as protector of three worlds, Rana Shri, abiding naturally as a nirmana kaya from the palm seed syllable in my heart. Emanate Ram Yam Kam that purifies all the impurities and stains of the offering substances. Then the syllables Ahung emanate, which transform the immaculate essence of the offering substances into the nature of the elixir of primordial wisdom, turning them into substances that are agreeable to each of the types, entirely filling the limitless 3,000-fold universe. Ahung, Ahung, Om Ahung. Nama Sarva Tata Gate Bayo Visha Muke Bya Sarva Takang Ungate Saparana Hemanga Gana Kang Soha Nama Sarva Tata Gate Bayo Visha Muke Bya Sarva Takang Ungate Saparana Hemanga Gana Kang Soha Nama Sarva Tata Gate Bayo Visha Muke Bya Sarva Takang Ungate Saparana Hemanga Gana Kang Soha. Free from the innate nature that is spontaneously present since the beginning, I invite and request the protectors of the teachings to come to this birthless, perfectly luminous secret mandala Yudakinis, who magically appear from the activity of primordial wisdom, supreme guardians who abide by the command and oath, manifest magical forms from the Dharma Dhatu, worldly and primordial wisdom, emanations and retinue. With your hearts of Maya aroused, please come here. From the expanse of the excellent azure space, ablaze with turquoise light, specifically from the azure crack of Mule Eternum, great elder sister ACHI Nanangza, please come here to tame all venomous enemies and obstructors, magical apparitions of elusive forms emerging from the sphere of primordial wisdom are the deities, exalted activities, wisdom, samaya, and magnetizing guardians of the conqueror's teachings, each according to their own type, retinues of pacification, enrichment, magnetization, and destruction, cries of longing, yogins calling out like a dragon's roar with welcoming substances, silk ribbons and hands beckoning. I bring forth offering clouds of cleansing smoke, an ocean of elixir. Due to your samayas, come here to this place of unsullied samayas. Samaja ja hom ham ho ala la ho e he he bhagavan akarashaya samaya ja. Shri Goddess Lady of Space, along with your entire retinue, please be seated happily, each according to your like. I bring forth oceans of offering clouds, both physical and visualized. With devotion I praise and pay homage with body, speech, and mind. Now and at this place and in this supreme year, at this excellent juncture, when the planets and stars are in favorable positions with aspiration prayers of all majestic foe, destroying Buddhas for the exhaustion of degenerative factors, may I achieve in its entirety the true meaning of this life as I make this cleansing offering to you, deities, now. Let ghosts, demons, mishaps, and obstructors disperse to their own abodes, cleanse and purify obscurations and impurities. Cure with various supreme medicines that clear the afflictive emotions. Fine as silks, jewels, incense, and aloes wood, sandalwood, cedar wood, fragrant fir, juniper, dwarf, rhododendron, birch, and so on. All these types of fragrant and ambrosia woods, flour, buttermilk, and various types of food and drink, we make these offerings. Clouds of pervading smoke of this cleansing offering. For you, glorious root and lineage gurus, we cleanse for you, Idam Vajrayogini, along with retinue, we cleanse for you, protectors of the teachings, chief lady of space, Chuki Droma, for you, exalted activities, Dakini, wisdom Dakini, Samaya Dakini, and magnetizing Dakini, and for you, the three goddesses who devour, slay, and snatch away, we cleanse. Heart-shaking mother and razor to the life force, wrathful red mother of exalted activities, along with retinue, along with all your assemblies of thousands of dark red flesh eaters. For all you Martikas and Dakinis without exception, we cleanse for you the powerful Lady Jashi sitting of the supreme crystal tresses of the Himalaya. For you, the goddesses of the four families, the five sisters, consort, and retinue, and you 12 Dhammas, along with your retinue, we cleanse so that the go-away gods and the multitude of family guardians, the guardians of the precious teachings of the Kagyu, and oceans of sworn guardians protect us. The Samaya keeping yogins, we offer this cleansing. As this touches the deities and us, the evil of defilements from Samaya breaches, defilements from violations of vows, quarrels, filth, and demons, those coming from contact with corpses, rape, incest, infidelity, and fouling of hearts, all these foul defects are cleansed, and we thus become pure. In this way, with this profound ritual of bathing and cleansing smoke, the guardian deities are pleased, violations and breaches are mended, all obstructive and discordant conditions are quelled, and all our wishes that accord with the Dharma are abundantly accomplished. Hear now with lofty praises to the guardian deities, glory to Choki Droma. With these outer, inner, and secret support substances, glory to Choki Droma. With these various desirable offering clouds, glory to Choki Droma. With music of devotional songs of praise, glory to Choki Droma. With mantras, mudras, and samadhi, glory to Choki Droma. Superior to the pinnacle of cyclic existence, glory to Choki Droma. Brighter than the sun and moon, glory to Choki Droma. Good as wish fulfilling jewels, glory to Choki Droma. Full like a summer lake, glory to Choki Droma. To spread the never waning teachings of Buddhas, glory to Choki Droma. To guard and fulfill the ultimate accomplishment of disciples, glory to Choki Droma. May the guardians and humans not be separated, all the excellent glories, wealth, power, and blessings of the animate and inanimate, of the environment and inhabitants in samsara and nirvana. I now bring these together These enriching presences, propers, fortunes, rolling like an ocean. By the great might of all you guardians, guard the jewel of the essence teachings, increase, develop, and stabilize the holders of the teachings. For us who are unerring and our retinue, increase auspiciousness and resources in our abodes. And when we are away, repel all bandits and hostile forces, dispel harmful gossips and loss. Now and in the time to come, spontaneously bring about all these benefits. Om VAJRASATTVA Samaya Manupalaya VAJRASATTVA Denopa Tita Dedomema Sutokaya Membawa Supokaya Membawa Anurato Membawa Savasiddhi Memprayacha Sawakama Sujame Jedam Soya Guru Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sarvatathagata Bhajamame Muncha Bhajvibhava Mahasamaya Sato Om VAJRASATTVA Samaya Manupalaya VAJRASATTVA Denopa Tita Dedomema Sutokaya Membawa Supokaya Membawa Anurato Membawa Savasiddhi Memprayacha Shaya Guru Bhagavan Sarvatathagata Bhajramani Muncha Bhajribhava Mahasamaya Sato Om VAJRASATTVA Samaya Anupalaya VAJRASATTVA Denopa Tita Membawa Sudokaya Membawa Supokaya Membawa Anurado Membawa Sarvasiddhi Memprayacha Sarvakama Sujame Chitam Shaya Guru Hong Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sarvatathagata Bhajramame Muncha Bhajribhava Mahasamaya Sato Yes, so again, if you notice, like this, the wordings, right, of this practice pays attention to the external aspects, especially. Of course, it also, talks about cleansing breaches in samaya. And so the practice, of course, every practice, you could say, is complete in and of itself. Yeah, every practice that we do, they are complete. It's not as if this practice you cannot cleanse on the inner level or on the secret level. I'm not saying that, when I say consider this one as outer cleanse. But in the context of the three practices of cleansing that we do, then this one is very appropriate to think of it as outer cleanse, because it talks about, like unfriendly forces outside, enemies, obstructors, bandits, right? Hostile forces, people gossiping about us, loss that happens, right? Then also it invokes, ACHI and her retinue, the names of her Dakinis and other, Dakinis who devour, slay, and snatch away. So all these are like, outer forces that cleanse and protect. And then outer threats and outer problems that might turn up, right? So the language here speaks of different entities, friendly entities, unfriendly entities. So the focus is more on the external. So then next, the Bodhisattva's confession of downfalls, popularly known as the 35 Buddhas confession. And this in particular, we can think of it as helping us cleanse the inner level of vows. So we observe three vows, three sets of vows. The outer level of vows are the, for lay people especially then, the 5 lay vows, keeping those 5 lay vows. You can expand the 5 lay vows to talking about the 10 non-virtues that we do not engage in. Then the Bodhisattva vows. The main Bodhisattva vow, of course, is the vow to achieve enlightenment for the sake of all beings. Then there are precepts that we keep to protect that vow. Various lists exist for that. So this second one is particularly focused on purifying, cleansing damages that we have created due to our unskillfulness, due to our lack of maintaining mindfulness, due to us being careless. The opposite of mindfulness is carelessness. To be mindful then is to be careful. So now we do the second practice. All sentient beings continuously take refuge in the Guru, take refuge in the Buddha, take refuge in the Dharma, and take refuge in the Sangha. Homage to you, Bhagavan Tathagata Arhat, completely and perfectly awakened Shakyamuni. Homage to Vajragarbha Pramardin. Homage to Ranarsis. Homage to Nageshwara Raja. Homage to Virasena. Homage to Viranandin. Homage to Ratna Agni. Homage to Ratna Chandra Prabha. Homage to Amoghadarshan. Homage to Ratna Chandra. Homage to Nirmala. Homage to Shuradatta. Homage to Brahma. Homage to Brahmadatta. Homage to Varunya, homage to Varunya Deva, homage to Bhadrashri, homage to Chandanashri, homage to Ananta Ujjas, homage to Prabhasashri, homage to Ashoka Shri. Homage to Narayanya, homage to Kusuma Shri, homage to Tathagata Brahma Jyotir Vikritita Abhijna, homage to Tathagata Padma Jyotir Vikritita Abhijna, homage to Dhanna Shri, homage to Smriti Shri, homage to Suparikiritita Namadeya Shri. Homage to Indraketu Dwajaraja, homage to Suvikranta Shri, homage to Vijita Sangrama, homage to Vikranta Gamin, homage to Samanta Vabhasha Vihya Shri, homage to Ratna Padma Vikramin. Homage to you, Tathagata Arhat, completely and perfectly awakened Ratna Padma Srupatishtita Shailendra Raja. May you and however many other Bhagavans, Tathagatas, Arhats, complete and perfect Buddhas who are abiding in all the realms of the worlds of the 10 directions, all you Bhagavan Buddhas, please turn your attention to me. Over the course of this and all other lives in samsara without beginning or end, whatever wrongs I may have done, have caused others to do, or have rejoiced in their being done, whatever possessions of stupas, possessions of the Sangha, possessions of the Sanghas of the 10 directions, I may have stolen, have caused others to steal, or have rejoiced in the stealing of, whichever of the 5 actions of immediate retribution I may have done, have caused others to do, or have rejoiced in their being done, whichever of the 10 non-virtuous actions I may have engaged in, have caused others to engage in, or rejoice in their engagement. Whatever karmic obscurations there are by which I become a hell being, or one who goes to the animal realm, or to the land of the pretas, or to birth in border regions among barbarians, or among the long-lived gods, or that would lead to incomplete sense faculties, or holding wrong views, or to not rejoicing at the appearance of a Buddha. I confess all of these in the presence of you, Bhagavan Buddhas, who have primordial wisdom, who are witnesses, who are authorities, who know and see. I admit them and do not conceal them. Henceforth I vow to refrain from them. O you Bhagavan Buddhas, please turn your attention to me. Over the course of this and all other lives in samsara without beginning or end, whatever causes of virtue that may be from my having given gifts to others, even as little as a mouthful of food to an animal, whatever cause of virtue there may be in my having preserved discipline, whatever cause of virtue there may be in my having maintained pure conduct, whatever cause of virtue there may be in my having caused sentient beings to mature, whatever cause of virtue there may be in my having roused a mindset on supreme awakening, whatever cause of virtue there may be in unsurpassed primordial wisdom, combining, gathering, and collecting all of this together, I dedicate it to the unexcelled, unsurpassed, most exalted, and most excellent. I dedicate it to unsurpassable, complete, and perfect awakening. Just as past Bhagavan Buddhas have dedicated, and just as future Bhagavan Buddhas will dedicate, and just as the Bhagavan Buddhas of the present in all directions are dedicating now, I also fully dedicate in the very same way. I confess each and every misdeed, I rejoice in all merit, I request and entreat all Buddhas. May I attain sublime, supreme, unsurpassed, primordial wisdom, supreme among humans, victors now present, those of the past, those yet to come. Your praiseworthy qualities are boundless like the ocean. With folded palms I fully go to you for refuge. Now wherever you are seated, check in, so to say. Be aware of where you are seated. And think that now we will practice the third cleansing, the secret cleansing through the method of VAJRASATTVA. So instantaneously, spontaneously, suddenly, in the space above you, a white Hong syllable appears. And this Hong syllable is supported by a moon disk, and that moon disk is resting on the big lotus flower, white in color, in full bloom. Lights then go out from this white crystal Vajra into all directions, doing two main things, these lights. One, they go out to purify the obscurations of beings of the six realms. And second, they go out to make offerings to all the Buddhas of the 10 directions. Then these lights return and reabsorb into the seed syllable in the center of the home. And that causes the Vajra to turn into Buddha VAJRASATTVA, our Guru. Buddha VAJRASATTVA holds a Vajra and bell, sits in a relaxed way with the right leg slightly extended and the left drawn in. He's wearing various jewels and silk ornaments. Then in the center of his heart is a moon syllable, is a moon disk upon which a home syllable is standing. This home syllable is surrounded by the 100-syllable mantra. Lights then radiate out from this home syllable, clearing all the obscurations of wandering beings so that they all turn into VAJRASATTVA in form. Then these lights come back to the 100-syllable mantra, dissolve into them, causing the mantra chain to start turning now. As they turn, especially from the home syllable, white elixir like milk flows out, filling VAJRASATTVA, filling our Guru's form completely with the nectar, the elixir of primordial wisdom. This elixir or nectar is flowing out of the opening at the top of the head of VAJRASATTVA. And it's also flowing out of VAJRASATTVA's big toe. And from that, a big cascade of elixir flow down onto us, drenching us, washing us, outside and inside. And as this elixir enters us and goes inside us, then what's inside our body, they are all pushed out, flushed out in the form of gray, smoky liquid. So that our own body, this ordinary form, nonetheless becomes more and more clear, more and more crystal-like. As all the accumulated evil deeds, fruits of our evil deeds, our negative karma, and all the four obscurations and other faults and failings, known and unknown, they all leave our body in the form of smoky, dark smoky liquid. VAJRASATTVA samaya manubalaya VAJRASATTVA denova dedo membawa sutokayo membawa supokayo membawa anurato membawa sarvasiddhi mempreyacha sarvakama sujame chitam shreya guru ho bhagavan sarvatathagata Vajramame muncha Vajrabhava mahasamaya sato Om VAJRASATTVA samayam anupalaya VAJRASATTVA denoba dedo membawa sutokayo membawa supokayo membawa anurato membawa sarvasiddhi mempreyacha sarvakama sujame chitam shreya guru hong ho bhagavan sarvatathagata Vajramame muncha Vajrabhava mahasamaya sadho Om VAJRASATTVA samayam anubalaya VAJRASATTVA denova dedo membawa sutokayo membawa supokayo membawa anurato membawa sarvasiddhi mempreyacha sarvakama sujame chitam shreya guru hong ho bhagavan sarvatathagata Vajrama Memunja Bajribhava Mahasamaya Sato Vasasata Samaya Anuradha Memosa Vajrasa Did the Memosa the Memosa Did the Memosa the Memosa Did the Memosa the Memosa Anuradha Memosa Vajrasa Vajrasa doesn't my did the Memosa the Memosa Did the Memosa the Memosa Anuradha Memosa was the Memosa some Kamasunja Vajrasa doesn't my Anuradha Memosa was the Memosa some Kamasunja Benjamin Guru Bhagwan So was it the memories of Wagamazuja Majoram Zeranguru, oh, Bhagavan Savadana, Katabesamo, Anurato Memos was in memories. Bazrazo de Nobadita de Nomas. Bazrazo dos Amaya Manubalaya Bazazo de Nobadita de Nomas. Bazraza dos Amaya Manubalaya Bazazo de Nobadita de Nomas. Bazraza dos Amaya Manubalaya Bazazo de Nobadita de Nomas. So was it a member just of Wagamasu ha 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 Bhagavan Savataka Bajrama Memuja Bajribo Mahazamaya Sato Bazra Sato Samaya Manubalaya Bazasato Deno Patita Dudo man Bawa Sudogaya man Bawa Subogaya man Bawa Anurato man Bawa Savasidi member Salvakamasu Meje Damjaya Guru Hong ha 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 Bhagavan Sarvata Bhadra Mamimunja Bhadre Bhava Mahasamaya Sadhu. Now experience your body as having become crystal-like, clearly appearing but inside is empty, since all the karmic obscurations and defilements have been cleansed completely and thoroughly. Then looking towards our Guru, Buddha Vajrasattva, we do this following prayer. I and others have ignorantly violated our samayas. Protector, please protect us, foremost Vajra holder. Foremost among wandering beings, please be our refuge. It's important to train in viewing all sentient beings as being Vajrasattva. And since Vajrasattva is our Guru, then to see all beings as aspects of our Guru, of our own pristine nature of mind. So that know that when we see others and regard others as less than this pristine nature, first and foremost, is an indicator of the purification, the cleansing that we still need to do. Then Guru Vajrasattva is pleased with us and says, all your evil deeds and obscurations are now cleared. In that moment, Guru Vajrasattva dissolves into light and enters into you from the Brahma aperture at the top of your head, and yourself turns into the form of Guru Vajrasattva. You have the appearance of Guru Vajrasattva now. By the power of this virtue, may I swiftly accomplish Vajrasattva and raise all wandering beings without exception to that very same state as well.